Oh, I'm still muted. No, I'm not. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the ABC of Paranormal Strangeness, brought to you by the Paranormal United Network. Did I get it right? Yay! So, this week you can see that we are still separated in our different abodes. Reason being is that poor Miss Renata has got the lurgy, not the lurgy, not that lurgy, but she has pneumonia. We've been pushing her too hard, took her up into the Blue Mountains to get some fresh air.
Never doing that again, are we?
Yeah,
not having no holidays. Never.
No.
Never again.
Then I booked another holiday and I fucked that up. Excuse me. I've sworn already. This is not good. Yes. Hi, Karen. Hi, Lee. Hi, Joe. Hope you're doing well today, Joe. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Melissa. Yeah, she's on round 2 of antibiotics. You've got a humdinger one.
Yeah, two lots of antibiotics at the moment that are trying to kick in and get rid of this, whatever it is, and get me on the wellness track because I'm tired of just being at home. This is not me. So, yeah. Hi, Joe. Gorgeous Joe. She's been in the wars as well, having a bit of an operation and recovering from that. So that's awesome. Hi, Jenny from Ireland. Oh, how wonderful. How wonderful to see you on. That is amazing. We're talking about Ireland today, aren't we?
We are. So please forgive our pronunciations because they will suck. I'm telling you now. But today is our last day of being in our self-imposed isolation because we did visit an area that supposedly had COVID, but it didn't. But we still had to be locked down anyway. But yeah, it is what it is. We did the right thing. We stayed there apart from Renata going up the hospital because she couldn't breathe. Because her own doctor didn't want to touch her.
No.
So today we're actually presenting in our ABC of Paranormal Strangeness the letter
H.
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 I'm thinking, is it D? Is it M? Is it I?
There's
so many things.
H.
Yeah. And we actually covered this one on our True Hauntings podcast. And it was a really great episode, even if I say so myself. That's the information on the True Hauntings podcast down the bottom, if you would like to follow up on that later. Yeah, and because we have been there, and I have been there twice. It's all right, I'll take you back for another time, Renata, and get you walking up that hill. But we'll talk about that later.
I don't think I'd be able to get out of the car park at this stage.
No. We actually may have to do some recordings for a new sponsor for True Hauntings this afternoon. So I'm going to drive out and pick her up and bring her in, and she can cough into the microphone for a bit. Then we'll be going taking her back home. So we're going to tell people what I booked for my birthday trip and the stuff up we had with that.
You can, yeah. Go ahead.
So my birthday's coming up soon, and there's cheap airfares. You know what it's like, cheap airfares. If you see that little YouTube clip of cheap fares, yeah. Anyway, the airfares weren't the problem. We got the airfares to Ayers Rock, and I thought this is going to be so exciting to go and see Uluru, and it'd be like a spiritual journey. And of course, my husband can never come, so I take Renata, and we booked the flights just 3 nights, and then we got online to have a look for some accommodation. Not realising that at Uluru, in that vicinity, that the one corporation owns the whole area. There are 4 lots of accommodation there at the moment. Most of them are shut. So I think there was 2 that was remaining open, and they could charge whatever they like
We're forced to go first class.
Yeah. So the accommodation we could get for like 3 nights was $590. And I thought, well, that's not too bad for 3 nights. We normally can do a bit cheaper than that, but I can cope with that. Until I went to check out and pay for it, and it came up with $1,700. I went, what? What have I clicked on? Then I realised it was $590 a night. And that doesn't even include breakfast. I nearly died. I nearly died. Because if anyone knows where Ayers Rock is, it's in the middle of Australia. It's in the Northern Territory, which I've never been to in my life. So this is a bucket list for me. And, oh, my Lord.
It's not as though you can, it's not as though you can get in the car and travel 20 miles to another township.
No.
There's nothing for 5 hours.
There's nothing. So I thought maybe we'll just go and stay at Alice Springs. I didn't realise Alice Springs was 5 hours away. So we're just going to suck it up. I'm going to use my birthday money to pay for the accommodation and pray that I get some birthday money. Anyway, let's get on with Karen, we can't even get out of the swags. There's nothing we can do because they own the camping ground and it's shut. Apparently it's freezing in Ayers Rock in winter, and it gets down to like 1 degree overnight, so I ain't camping. No, it's okay. It's going to be my birthday treat, and Renata's going to share it with me.
We're going to do some awesome lives though, and especially for our American
so I can make it a tax deduction.
Our American and Northern Hemisphere watchers, you're going to really love this because you're going to see a part of Australia that, we haven't seen before, and is really iconic. It's really iconic. It's
as iconic as the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Yeah, it's the belly button of the world. So you will all
of Australia
absolutely love it.
And don't forget that we have the Beer Fest Paracon coming up in America for those who would like to partake in a conference. Oh, boy, we would love to be there.
We would so love to be there right now. Honestly, people, it would just be so amazing to see you all. Hopefully next year. I'm getting my second AstraZeneca shot on Friday, all going well, so I will be completely...
I don't know if they'll let you have it while you've got this, Renata.
Shh.
Oh, you can't exactly fake it. If you I'll
give them a call.
Die.
No, I'll give them a call. I've
got work for you to do. You can't die.
No.
As for minerals out there, probably we will be finding out as much information as we can. And do we have any followers? No, because it's in bumfuck nowhere. And the only people that are living out there are the people that work in the town. As much as I would love to, I don't think it's desperate enough a situation to do that. But thank you, Liz. We'll have fun. We're just going to suck it up and make it a tax deduction. Erin's got some good information. It'll be worth it, she said. Hire a car and stay at Irredunda Roadhouse. About an hour and a half drive. Oh, okay, we'll look into that. Thank you.
We'll look into that, Erin. Thank you so much. Anything to cut down the price of that accommodation, which is like, we're only 2 little girls from Australia. We're not famous yet.
2 old chooks. 2 old chooks, as somebody called us the other day.
Oh, no, old ducks, please. Get it right. Old ducks that are cooked. Remember the old ducks that are cooked, which I have no idea what that means.
Hey, welcome back, Mohammed. Nice to see you again. Oh, you
Hi, how are you?
There. Yeah, awesome. All right, let's get on with today's show. So I'm going to add this into the stream. Renata, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so what I need to do before we get too excited is I've got to find my phone, which is here somewhere. I can find everything but my phone. Oh, there it is. So, yeah, we've got a different set today.
While Anne's doing that, check out these likely lads here. So this is the equivalent of a photograph back in the 1700s, and these likely lads here were the original members of the Dublin Hellfire Club. Look at them, aren't they gorgeous? Says it all, doesn't it, Anne?
Now we know exactly what floats Renata's boat in the way of men.
No, thank you.
All right, I'm just getting online now.
So do you want me
into the studio, and I just need to turn down my volume so that we don't get any noise. So I'm going to do don't allow. This is the only way I can keep track of what is being said in the...
Yeah.
Right, there we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Karen thinks they're sexy too, so she can join in. Oh, Jeremy, and thank you so much. Yes, we are now part of the Things Network.
Yay!
Jeremy,
thank you so much, Jeremy.
So we become part of the help team from around the world to help people with paranormal cases, although I don't think people are going to like what we say because we use common sense.
Oh, dear.
All right,
how to win friends and make enemies in the paranormal world?
Elise, that's a great question. Can you remember that question and ask us again at the end of the presentation? And we will deal with that there. All right, off we go.
So would you like me just to start with a little bit of history and you just interrupt as we go, Anne?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So despite its infamy, the organisation known as the Hellfire Club was relatively short-lived in Ireland. Now, the Hellfire Club didn't only exist in Ireland, it existed in England as well. And the group in Ireland was founded in 1737 and really disbanded in the 1740s. So it didn't last all that long. But the organisation certainly left a mark on the country itself. Now, if you ask people what they know about the Hellfire Club, many may describe a Masonic-like group of rich aristocrats who enjoyed drunken orgies, where they gambled and practiced the dark arts like murder and human sacrifice. But really, did such an organisation or a group like this exist, and who were the members? Now, what did the group think that they were achieving by actually being a group and doing this? And did they actually practice devil worship and human sacrifice? And more than anything, did the Hellfire Club actually ever meet at the hunting lodge on Montpelier Hill that still bears the name? All of these are major questions that we will try and work through during this presentation for you, ladies and gentlemen.
In between Renata coughing up a lung.
That's right.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
Yes, that's a really great view of the Hellfire Club. Now, we, as Anne said, I've been there once with Anne. Anne's been there twice. And we will talk to you about the whole hill.
I've got holiday snaps at the end of this.
It's only around the corner. And this is what people say to you anytime you go overseas. When they say to you it's only around the corner, get in your car and drive. Okay, that's the signal. That's the signal that you get into your car and you drive when people say it's only around the corner, because that's bullshit.
Sorry.
So the Hellfire Club was an organisation very much of its time, and you've got to look at it as being a club of people who were extremely rich and could afford anything, and were probably as bored as all hell because they could afford anything. And so they had what they called an Enlightenment philosophy, which is a really great way of saying we're going to create a place where we are going to push the boundaries of society and step out of the zone of what people think we should be doing, and really play up.
And it was a way of rebelling against the society of the day. And a little like today with whatever is the latest thing that challenges the confines of society. Like now we have the people wanting to choose the sex they want to be, which is fine, totally up to them. But it is fighting against what is the standards in the community at the moment, and some people will resist against that. So it's all about trying to push the boundaries, and each one of these little pushes actually expands society, expands the people to think outside of what they've believed all their life, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Except when it comes to extremes. So we have one particular gentleman called Thomas Buck Whaley, who was born 30 years or so after the Hellfire Club sort of started. And he was born into a wealthy Dublin family in 1768. And he described himself in a manner, it says here, that would probably have made him a good candidate for the membership of the club. And he says, I was born with strong passions, a lively imagination and disposition, and a spirit that could brook no restraint. I possessed a restlessness and activity of mind that directed me to the most extravagant pursuits, and the ardour of my disposition never abated until satiety had weakened the power of my enjoyment. In other words, I probably was a wild child that felt that I could not be constrained, and I needed somewhere to really let that loose. And places like the Hellfire Club allowed them to do so. So Montpelier Hill, or Mount Pellier Hill, the home of the infamous Hellfire Club, has an irresistible allure that has seeped through generations. And you'll still find people going up to the Hellfire Club. It's completely made of stone. And spending time there, it's a real haunt for ghost hunters who go up and try and see if they can engage with the devil, who apparently came to have a card game there. This is after he had a card game at Loftus Hall. The devil was
that story is so similar, yeah.
Yeah, he was a busy man, the devil, back then.
Do you want me to read that story out now that you've mentioned it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so surprisingly, one of the best-known tales is not about one of the club's seedy members, but an unknown visitor. During one stormy night, sometime in the 1700s, a mysterious man appeared in front of the Hellfire Club, seeking refuge from the nasty weather outside. Having knocked on the door, this man was invited inside to play cards with the host. There was nothing unusual about this scenario until a playing card fell on the ground. You know what happened? Somebody bent over to pick it up, and what did they see? Other than a pair of cloven hoofs on the other side of the table where that stranger was sitting. So at that moment, they realised they were playing with a goat. The devil. And he must have just about pooped his pants thinking, oh, my God, that's cloven hooves under there. And they stayed very quiet until the game of cards was finished and the stranger left. But sometime later following that incident, the club burnt down.
Oh, geez.
It was 100 years later, but it burnt down. It was the devil's fault. No, I don't know. I really don't know how long after, but I like how that it's just immediately. But that's almost the same story as what we had for what's my favourite place I want to buy?
Loftus Hall.
Loftus Hall. Yeah.
So let me just tell you about the original Hellfire Club. So the original Hellfire Club appears to have been created by Phillip I, Duke of Wharton, in England in 1719. Philip was a controversial character, prone to excessive drinking and outrageously lewd behaviour. Fancy that. In a somewhat serendipitous coincidence, it was this same Philip Wharton who sold Montpellier Hill and the estates of Rathfarnham to William Connolly, who is this particular gorgeous-looking fellow here. And this first Hellfire Club in England was suppressed by order of King George I in 1721. So I reckon they got into trouble a little bit over in England for just kind of going a little bit too wild. So they decided they'd start up in Ireland where it was a little bit safer, or people didn't know about all of this
or people minded their own business.
Possibly. This is hilarious, though. I want to just say this. The establishment of the Hellfire Club is often erroneously ascribed to Sir Francis Dashwood. This famous rake was a founding member of the Dilettanti Society, a cultural interest organisation with a distinct overlap of membership and morals with the Hellfire Club. The society, described by Horace Walpole as, now this is important, a club for which the nominal qualification is having been to Italy, and the real one being drunk. The two chiefs are Lord Middlesex and Sir Francis Dashwood, who were seldom sober the whole time they were in Italy. All right, so to be a member, you had to have been to Italy, and qualifying meant you had to be drunk in Italy. Right.
That sounds fair to me.
So Dashwood became the founder of his own Hellfire Club that quickly gained notoriety around 1755. They were nicknamed the Monks of Meddenham Abbey, as they met in an old Cistercian monastery on the banks of the Thames. So this is where it all started in England. By all accounts, Dashwood's version of the Hellfire Club matched its forebears for orgies of debauchery and drunkenness, and they were said to have performed profane versions of Franciscan rites and cemetery and ceremonies. Ooh! So they were also very much against the established religions of the time, which was really something completely outrageous. So the English and Irish Hellfire Clubs did not appear to be particularly rigid and have formal structures. Well, yeah. And they would perhaps be more accurately described as a shared special interest group.
Can you imagine trying to find that on Facebook when you start looking? You know how you've got to assign, what's your interest? What is it? And you go, debauchery, orgies, can't find it.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
And it was designed purely for hedonistic and self-indulgent pleasures with a view of amusing themselves and shocking society. And that was the big thing. It was about the stories that came from the Hellfire Club and the shock of what happened in these places. That was the big thing, because you can imagine all of the small little townships and villages around these places. Absolutely. The stories that would come down and be changed and added to were just amazing.
And now, I imagine that they would have allowed those rumours to run rife and probably added to them, because it made them sound far more notorious, and kept people away from the lodge or the Hellfire Club. Now, do you want me to go to the next page here? I'm not sure where we're up to with the...
Yep.
We done that one or not?
No, stay there.
Okay.
People can read that, because that's about the Dublin one. I'll just read this little bit before I go back to that slide. Now, like we said, that they really didn't have a formal structure, but there did appear to be at least ceremonial roles, so a little bit like the Masons. For example, James Worsdale served as the Master of Revels of the Dublin Hellfire Club. So I reckon he was assigned the entertainment.
He had to book the talent.
Yep. The Irish Hellfire Club gained its greatest notoriety because they mocked the church. And that took the Enlightenment's questioning of organized religion to a new level, which is very, very interesting. That they were actually the ones that really poked at the whole structure of the church at the time. Now, an interesting letter in 1738 purported to be written by a member of the club who used the pseudonym Moloch, describes the Hellfire Club and its practices, including the sacrifice of maidens.
Ooh!
Yeah, which is lovely.
You know what? I don't reckon they were sacrificing maidens. I reckon they were deflowering maidens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sacrificing their virginity.
Yes. And that's the whole thing, as you said before. They would not have come in and changed that in any way, because it just made for a better story. So, the whole thing, as this slide says, is when rakish gentlemen wished for congenial society, they rode up to Mr. Connolly's hunting lodge, perched like Noah's Ark on the top of Mount Pellier among the Dublin mountains. Here they were reported to drink heavily, indulge in blasphemous oaths. So they'd probably sit there and swear at each other a lot, amusing themselves.
A bit like us. We do that.
Orgies.
Hang on, Renata, hang on. Remember that?
Yeah. This may have been, as it is said, a haunt of the notorious Hellfire Club, but most of the club's meetings were actually held in the Eagle Tavern in Dublin. Now, if you've been to the Hellfire Club, you'll know that it's a little bit of a walk.
I'll get to that.
Yeah, and it's not an easy place to get to. Now, these gentlemen in their, illustrious outfits would probably have preferred to stay in town in most cases, and this seems to be what happened at most times. There was an actual pub in Ireland, which was on Eustace Street, which was probably where most of the time the Hellfire Club got together. Now, there is a plaque that sits on the wall of where the alleged Hellfire Club was there. So this is a picture of it. So you can go to the next slide. And this is where the original Eagle Tavern sat in Dublin, where probably more often than not the meetings would occur. So the hunting lodge was one of those places where every so often they might meet, but it was never really as notorious a place for the meetings as this place, the Eagle Tavern, seemed to be. Now, that would be an awesome place to do a ghost hunt, wouldn't it, Anne?
Oh, yes. I'm sure the walls have many stories to tell.
Yes. So the Irish Hellfire Club was alleged to have indulged in satanic rituals and to have made pacts with the devil. Oh. According to the numerous accounts, the members of the Hellfire Club met to drink scalthine, hot whiskey and melted butter in a silver punch bowl. They are also said to have left one chair at the head of the table vacant for the devil. Now, doesn't that sound a little bit Harry Potter-ish? And what do they call butterbeer?
Oh,
they used to.
Yes, it does actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So hot whiskey and melted butter. Now, I think more than anything that was to, keep them warm.
It was the butter was to coat the stomach for the stuff they were throwing down their belly.
Yeah.
Now I actually have a story here from one of the members of the club, and as I was saying before, that they were challenging the beliefs and the morals of society, and there was one in there that was known for his practical jokes, and his name was Richard Parsons. And apparently what he did, he was having a war with the local minister, and they didn't get on at all. And one day he summoned this minister, whose name was Samuel Madden, to his house. He needed to talk to him. I suppose Madden thought maybe this is my chance to come and save his soul from Satan. So Madden, the clergyman, has turned up only to be met at the door by Parsons, who had stripped himself naked.
Oh yeah.
Opened up the door and said, "Hello, how are you?" Poor bugger didn't know where to look and was absolutely mortified. And yes, so this person really liked to play practical jokes.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. I just wanted to give you a voice break by throwing in the story.
No, I'm almost done. So you want to go on to the next slide?
Yep.
So this is Scalthine.
Ooh, we got a recipe.
Yes. Add half a bottle of whiskey, 2 whisked eggs, and a lump of butter to a pint and a half of strained beef broth, to which salt and black pepper has been added.
Oh.
Heat the mixture well, but do not boil. Now, they said Scalthine could make a corpse walk, and it was taken red hot. Isn't that awesome?
That is foul. Beef broth. I mean, it was okay until they actually put the beef broth. I can't say it. Beef broth. And try saying that out loud, everyone, just at home. Say beef broth and see how that feels. But I'm quite liking that Joshua agrees with us. Brenda goes,
I think it's worth having a go. I think it's worth creating this and see.
Give it a crack.
Give it a crack. I reckon it would get rid of my virus. I think it'd get rid of everything.
You'd be dead. It sounds like it's keto as well.
Absolutely.
All right.
Here we go.
Here's our intrepid warriors that visited the Hellfire Club. So there's Renata taking what I like to call the Dave Schrader pose, because I took a photo of Dave doing that, and myself. And you can see how green and mossy the walls are that are there. But just before, have you finished your notes, Renata?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, where this is, this was a hunting lodge, and it was created out of stones that were originally on the site that were from a cairn or a cairn, which was a burial site, an ancient burial site that is supposed to, I think, predate Stonehenge. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. No, predate the pyramids.
Wow, predate the pyramids. There you go. And so they used what was there to create this hunting lodge for the aristocratic lot that was there in Ireland. And it sits on a hill overlooking Dublin, and it's magnificent. Absolutely, it's a disgusting, horrible building. I didn't like it. I kind of went, God, the architecture of this is shocking. Everyone stared at me and went, huh? It's not an appealing building at all, but
very dark and brooding.
Yeah, it certainly has stood the test of time.
And originally it was actually painted white. They had whitewashed it so that everyone from down below the town, because it is up on a hill, could see this thing, and they knew what was going on up there. So, but it was originally a lodge. So, as this is the story here for the recycling of the lodge. Eager to recycle in newfound resources, workers took a large number of the cairn stones and re-implemented them into the lodge. So that turned out to be a very bad move, because it sort of marked the destruction. But I love the reasoning that goes behind this. Blows my mind. Not long after they had finished building it with these stones from the cairn, the roof was blown clean off the building. So that was the slate roof. Some say it was the storms doing, others speculate that the devil, incensed at Connolly and company's action, tore it off in a moment of pure rage. much to the devil's chagrin, should you believe that narrative, Connolly had the roof rebuilt with arched domes, again using ones from the ancient cairn that rebuilt the roof, and it continues to stand this day. So, hang on 2 secs. Hot. I had to get my scarf off. I can't remember if this is the one that the ashes were poured into this cairn. I don't think people were actually buried under it, but their ashes were poured into the centre of it. So why would the devil be happy for a place that was sacred to the locals to be destroyed? That doesn't work. Anyway.
Makes for a good story.
Yeah, and also there is the story of the black cat. Oh, look.
Oh, yes. Oh, look at that.
That was me and my husband Roman with Mr. Dave Schrader back in 2015 when Dave organised a fantastic tour around Ireland. And we also went to the All Ireland Paracon, which was fabulous as well. So I'll tell you the story of the black cat while you can admire that. So there's a couple of stories about this black cat. One is of a priest who exorcised the cat's soul during a ritualistic sacrifice, and apparently it now inhabits the area. There is another story, and this is horrible for anyone who loves animals. Just block your ears now. It will take me about 30 to 40 seconds to read this story out, but block it now. The other is the members of the Hellfire Club dousing a helpless cat in whiskey and setting it on fire and then releasing it into the wild where the cat is slated to have run ablaze until it died. And it was set fire to things as it was going. But you imagine the locals having seen that and this blob that was streaking past and making all this noise and... so that would then turn into a completely different story. There was also a story in the 1960s of a person that was renovating the derelict house that's at the bottom there of the hill, and they opened up a door and they saw a demonic black cat. They said it was huge with glowing red eyes. So that's more about the black cat. Another one is... hang on, let me find it. In this story, another young man, a visitor to the local farmhouse, goes to investigate the activities of the club. Next morning he's found dead. The local priest believes he's been murdered. They go to investigate. They go up there and they see a banquet laid out and a black cat prowling the room. But this is no normal cat. It's huge. And the priest noticed that its ears are shaped like horns. Happening to have a small bottle of holy water in his pocket, as you do, the priest decides to attempt an exorcism on this said cat. The result tears the beast apart, and outside the host is found lying on the ground, his face and neck deeply scratched with strong claws. Now, if I was the priest and I went up to investigate, I would invent some sort of awesome story to make me sound like the victor in all of this. Yeah. Oh, there's hubby and I. There's Dave. Hi, Dave.
I guess the thing about it is, what was the priest doing up there in the first place?
Yes.
He would have had to be there by invitation. You couldn't just stroll up there.
Well, there is another story of another young man who went to go and visit because he'd heard what happens up in the Hellfire Club, and they find him the next day completely senseless. The young farmer, curious to find out what's happening.
Yes.
So he witnessed the activities and his mind was blown and he was couldn't even remember his name the next day. I'd say he drank something or ate something he shouldn't have. Yeah, and there's lots of stories there. They've got the evil man, Lord Santry. I've got hiccups. But we are we're at 22:11 already. So let me get onto my story. So, hi Dave. See all the cameras around his neck? It's because he was taking photos for us all. That was my very first trip to Ireland in 2015, and I had such fond memories of this beautiful, amazing road up to the the Mount Pellier Hellfire Club and the amazing views and just everything about it, that I thought I would take Renata up there. So on our trip with Renata, which I think was your second trip to Ireland, Renata, because the first one was very brief.
The first one was 2 days, wasn't it? Overnight.
Yeah, yeah. And this was the before we left for Ireland, before we left to home. It was like, this is the last day or so that we were there. So
Yes,
I said,
yes.
look, it's just a short walk up the hill. It's like 10, 15 minutes at most. So, and the sights and everything were absolutely beautiful. The flowers are still out, even though we're into late November. And then we spied this little sort of avenue forest through the trees, and we sort of had a look in there. Now, here we are walking up the hill. Look at Renata's face. I think basically that tells you how Renata's feeling at this stage, because this was probably about 30 minutes into walking up the hill. And how were you feeling, Renata?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful walk, beautiful scenery, everything, but it was not 10 or 15 minutes. It wasn't. And every time we went around a corner, which is all uphill, I'd be going, how much further, Anne? For goodness sake.
She was not
Oh,
happy,
my God.
Jan. She was
I was
not happy.
No.
And when we eventually got up into that little sort of mysterious alley that we saw through the trees, our glasses were completely fogged up from the energy we had.
Yeah. The the heat our bodies were expelling. It just, yeah. And there was this amazing moment in those woods where you went in, and the pictures don't show how dark it was there, and how dark it was, and how silent it was in there. It was just beautiful.
Yeah, I thought I'd put a picture in there of the fairy ring we found as well, but it's not there. Never mind.
Yeah, except for this screaming child that was going up with its parents, and I'm in there having this magical moment of, come to Jesus, how beautiful all of this is, and there's this screaming child that's going past, and it was one of those moments where I thought, oh, I only had the power to shut that child up, I would at this stage, because it broke my karma.
It grounded us. It sucked. All right. So eventually we got around the corner and we saw that off in the distance. Isn't it just? It's
horrible.
Like, wow. It's wow.
Horrible.
I love it.
It's wow. It's wow, but it's absolutely horrible.
Dark, imposing, evil.
Yeah.
So of course, you're right there, Renata.
Yep, I'm good.
You can mute your mic while you cough, but that's okay.
Sorry.
So you can see there that's the roof that would have been made from the stones from the cairn up the top there. There's Renata, still not happy with me, chucking a tanty. This is just more photos from inside. And some people are saying how much they're enjoying this presentation. If you'd like to hear more, because this is just a brief look at it, go to our True Hauntings podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you listen to your podcasts, and look up True Hauntings, Anne and Renata, and you will be able to find this episode. So that's the creepy stairs that go up into the other rooms, and this is the basement that was underneath it. Then we came back down the hill as the sun was starting to get low, and we got these magical shots. It really is a beautiful, magical place.
It is.
I don't know if I'll get her to walk up that hill again, but and that brings us to the end. So, guys, of course, if you have enjoyed the presentation, we're going to keep going. We've still got a few minutes to go, but please make sure you have subscribed. If you're on YouTube or if you're on our page in Facebook, please make sure that you have liked or what do they call it? Friended us, whatever it is, and subscribe and do all that sort of stuff, because it really supports us in building our audience, and it costs you guys nothing, but it really helps us out. Anyway, I'm going to now bunk out of that and get back onto here so that we can get us up there. Yeah, that last photo was that was actually the light was coming through and causing those light refractions to happen in there. That was that one there. There we go. All right, I've unmuted you now. Hi, Maxine. So we are at that time that we had some questions earlier on. I've got a feeling we might have to take out the Q&A section of this because we're getting so into the stories now that it's hard to try and fit everything in. So, Renata, are you up to doing some readings or are you not?
Yeah, one or two short ones. I'll tell you if my voice gives out.
Okay.
Yep. So I've got my cards here.
This is where Renata is able to pull a couple of cards for you guys. If anyone would like to ask a question of the Tarot Master.
Do you remember what the question was at the beginning before the slideshow that you were going to talk about?
I will try and find it.
There's one question that came up. Excuse me for my cough, people.
No, I can't see it.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was.
If we find it, we'll try and answer it on the comments for whoever it was that asked.
Hey, Jason. Oh, here we are. I've got it. Just why the questions are coming in. What are your thoughts on near-death experiences? People claiming they have been to heaven and met Jesus, or hell and been met by a demon and dragged into hell?
I think it's very interesting that people have near-death experiences that are reflective of what their spiritual biases are, or what they have been brought up with or brought up to believe may well be true. And I wonder from other countries when they have near-death experiences, what they see when they have these experiences, because most probably what you will find is that people from, say, Cambodia or Japan or Tibet may not have these experiences where they go and meet Jesus or go to heaven, or see the devil and go to hell. So it's really interesting how the mind or the consciousness still plays a part of the experience that the person is having, even if they have that they are near death or have for a small period of time dropped out of their body and are in some sort of a zone in between. What do you think, Anne?
Yes, I would agree. And also, it becomes a confirmation bias. You don't know whether they've actually had this experience at what stage of the near-death experience. Is it while there's still oxygen going to the brain, or is it when they're completely dead, or is it as they're being brought back, as the brain gets reoxygenated and you either know that you're dying or you know you're coming back and you visualize what your belief is. And there are scientific studies that show that certain things happen when the brain starts to lose its you throw me there. I can hear buzzing as it starts to lose oxygen. So I'm not discounting it as it doesn't happen, but it does become a confirmation bias where whoever it is has that belief of heaven and hell and Jesus or demons and the devil, and they go, see, it is true. I told you so. Heaven and hell do exist because I've seen it.
Yeah.
We won't know. We won't really know whether. Oh, apparently Tommy Go House is sold out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Sorry about that, Adelaide.
We have to structure our tours at the moment because of the restrictions. So we can't have the normal amount of people that we might normally be able to have in these sites because of the distances and everything that are requirements with COVID, or we get shut down. We can't afford to be shut down for any more tours at the moment. So we just have to follow the regulations.
Yeah, sadly, this is Renata's income. This is what she does to make a living. There is no other income in her house, and no other people that work there. So when she gets wiped of her tours, she loses all her income, but she doesn't make enough money to be able to get the grants from the government to help her, because you've got to earn more than 75K a year to be able to get those grants. So she just, the lowest income people are just left to die.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is just awful.
And a lot of small businesses around are, single person businesses where that person cannot get another job or has decided to follow a passion or a dream. And in many cases, they're just earning enough to make ends meet or to pay the next bill. And the lovely government here has said that, if you earn $75,000 or more, we'll give you some money. But if you earn under that, thank you very much, you get zip nothing.
You're going on a diet.
Yeah.
Going on a diet and living in the gutter. Anyway, you've got Nicole there with like a card, please.
Okay, Nicole. Well, I've shuffled the cards, and I'm just going to take the card that's off the top here, and we're going to have a look at that one. And this is the Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups is always, or the aces are about new beginnings and new starts. And there is something of an emotional content, something that has a deep emotional connection for you being offered to you right now. As you see the hand coming forward and saying, look, this is here. I'm sticking it in your face, Nicole. Why aren't you taking it? Are you going to take it, or do I have to take it back? And if I do take it back, you may not see it again for quite some time. So because it is a Cups card, it is to do with how we feel, what we feel, and who we need to have in our life to make our lives complete. So it is either about repairing your own self and soul and accepting yourself completely fully at this particular point and saying, you've got to love you a lot at this point in time and heal your heart and heal yourself. And then everything else will fall into place. But you have to get a grip on that more than anything. It can also suggest that there is someone around you who is offering you a safe place to be and really can see you for who you truly are and likes you enough just the way you are. And you're so fearful of accepting that because every time you have in the past, it's just gone belly up for you and it hasn't worked, that you push them away. And again, this is quite soul destroying to be in that situation. So this is your sign here to say, Nicole, accept the love and accept love for yourself more than anything else, because that will get you out of any stuckness that you're feeling right now.
Okay, thank you, Renata. Joe Stevens.
Okay, Joe.
So given only 5 minutes of the show left, Renata, you'll make it.
Yep. Given the cards a bit of a shuffle, and we have the Four of Swords here, which is another interesting card. And this is a timeout card, Joe. So this is a card that I'm going to say to you, you've exhausted yourself with overthinking and overdoing and trying to repair damage that may not even have happened yet. So you are probably an overthinker, and you can sometimes catastrophize and create scenarios that don't really exist. And you have to be careful that you don't brain drain and literally spend your time overthinking about things that may or may not happen, and in many cases may not happen. And then when it comes time to really making decisions, you fail to do so in an appropriate time because you've just become completely and truly stuck in those manifestations that you've created for yourself about all the things that will probably go wrong if you do something. The issue is that you're already halfway there, or you're already at a point where you've created a lot in your life that is really not too bad. There's been success there if you truly look at it. And in the whole scheme of things, you're not doing too badly. But there's either a point around you where you feel that you have some failure happening around you because of what other people's successes are, or what you feel you should have, what point in life you should be at right now, and you're not there. But hey, girl, there's a lot of us that aren't there where we thought we would be or could be. Double down and keep striving and keep going. But this is a card that also reminds us to be in a state of gratitude and kind of go, you know what, I've got to also look at what I do have and be grateful for having achieved that. And that kind of means that I can actually do more. I can actually achieve more if I give myself a decent opportunity to do so and start to re-believe in my capabilities of creating a life for myself that I really want.
Nicely done. Hey, did you like how I did that? I got you onto a screen all to yourself. If anyone would like to support Renata during this time and get a bloody good reading off her as well, there is a little link that's going underneath there, luckypsychic.com. You can book online readings. You can send your questions in and she writes back in very detailed what her results are. So that is a way anyone from around the world can have a reading with Renata, and will support, again, a small business in a time of crisis, which is freaking awesome. Now, sorry, the feed just jumped. Hi, Howard. How are you, mate? Don't forget tickets to Fear Fest. Oh, I'm so jealous. So jealous. Now, Joshua has asked a question here that we don't answer health questions like this, but maybe you can pull a card to say how the family can support them during this time.
Absolutely, I can do that, Joshua. And it's interesting because it's the Page of Wands. And for me, this is a card that says, in spite of everything, she needs to be boosted by memory and by reminding her of better times and good times. This is also a card that says that she misses very much the younger people in the family. It's like they're missing. Where are they and what are they doing? They need to go and hold her hand. They need to go and be with her and literally breathe fresh life and energy into her. If you can take photos of good times when you are all enjoying each other's company and having really great times, it's this injection of really beautiful, young, lively, energetic life that she needs around her at the moment. And yeah, sing, laugh, sit down and watch videos with her that will make her joyous and happy. At the moment, that's what this card is saying to me to do. And what you will be doing in doing that is also creating lasting memories for yourselves as she continues on this particular part of where she is at. And unfortunately, how tragic that she has to go through this for the third time. It's just absolutely awful. And I can only imagine the devastation the family is feeling right now. So sending you lots of love.
Oh, Howard, you've got no idea. We are so busting to get out of Australia. to America, which Renata has never visited. And trust me, my friend, when we get the chance, we will be there with bells on. Maybe this time next year we can go to the Fear Fest in September next year. It's a possibility, but our government won't let us out of the country. Now,
we would love to, Howard. Absolutely love to.
So that brings us to the end of the show. We've just hit the hour, and there is another show that is coming up right now on the Paranormal United Network. You can go over onto their Facebook page, Paranormal United Network. I think it's the Paranormal United Network. There is two. Just go to one of them. It says it's the second one. Go to the first one.
Yeah, I think it's the Paranormal United Network.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, you dangle, Howard. You dangle carrots like you've got.
Oh my God! Yes, we had a whole planned trip. A whole trip planned, Howard, to New Orleans, and then COVID hit. We had to just dump it all.
You're pouring lemon juice in our wounds, Howard.
Oh Lord.
We have to get off because we've got to allow the next show to have their time. So thank you all for joining us. And Renata, a big thank you to you for coming on when you've got pneumonia and still doing the show this morning. I so appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week with the letter I. Wonder what it'll be. All right, see you on the dark side.
Bye.
Bye.